There are 141 boxes in this house with somebody's first name written on the side. You will spend 3 weeks assuming they're all hers. The lawyer meets you on the porch because he doesn't want to go inside, which he frames as respect and you correctly read as squeamishness. The owner died in the spring. Mrs. E to the street, a full name you only ever see on paperwork. And the family, who live far away and sound it, want a catalog before the estate sale. Every item, listed, described, valued where possible. 3 weeks. He hands you a clipboard, a laminated authorization letter, and an envelope with a key in it for the locked room upstairs, which you're to leave until the end, for no reason anyone offers. Then he leaves you alone with the house. And the house is full. Not dirty, that's the first surprise. Full. Corridors between stacks, plotted like streets. Some of the boxes have first names written on the side, big block letters. You figure it's how she labeled her own memories. You start in the front room, item 1, a brass door knocker, wrapped in newspaper, tagged with a date. Item 2, another one. Different house number. By the end of day 1, you've logged 60 items and you already have the feeling you can't name yet. The feeling of being inside something that has rules you haven't found. A house this full should be chaos, and it keeps refusing to be. By the second week, you've developed a method, because cataloging without one would take a year, room by room, stack by stack, top to bottom, 1 line per item. The house fights the method politely. Things are grouped in ways that make no retail sense. A wedding dress boxed with a fishing reel and a child's report cards. A drawer of watches, all stopped, all tagged. September arrives and it rains, and you learn which buckets in the attic are load-bearing. There's a cat, gray, unregistered, who enters through a gap you never find and supervises you from the top of a wardrobe with the manner of middle management. Twice, someone knocks on the front door in the middle of the day. You don't answer. People still door knock the dead you've noticed, the way they slow down past accidents. And the mail slot keeps delivering handwritten envelopes addressed to Mrs. E. You stack them on the hallway shelf, unopened. Junk mail stops for the dead. Letters apparently don't. You log item 400, a violin, 1 string, no case, tagged like everything else in the same small handwriting. You've started reading the tags before the items, which is backwards, and you don't notice yourself doing it. The house goes down in layers, like weather recorded in ice. The front rooms are the recent years. The back bedrooms are the 80s. The cellar is older than that and colder. October gets into the house through every unfixed window, and your breath shows indoors now, which puts a clock on everything. You find the neighborhood down there. Not metaphorically, house numbers, a mailbox, a pub sign, a school photo of 40 children labeled only with a year. You catalog it all in your flattest professional prose. Decorative signage, pub, painted wood, where consistent with outdoor use, and the prose starts to feel like lying, though you couldn't say what the truth would be instead. On the last day of the month, you open the locked room because you decide until the end is close enough. It isn't what the lock implied. No valuables in the safe deposit sense. Shelves, wrapped parcels, museum neat, each tagged. A name, a date, and 1 word you keep rereading. Until. Until what? The tags don't say. You add the room to the catalog under miscellaneous, wrapped, unexamined, which is the first entry you know is wrong when you write it. The lawyer wants a progress delivery, so you print the catalog to date. 912 items, Indexed, cross-referenced, the names transcribed exactly as written, because accuracy is the one professional virtue you have left to hold on to. He flips through it in his car, with the engine running. The names give him pause for exactly 1 page. Anything in the house, he explains, is legally the estate's. Possession is 9/10, and the 10th is also possession. He says your work is excellent. He says it the way people thank a vending machine. Then he makes 2 calls from the driver's seat while you stand in the drizzle by the Halloween decorations of the house next door. 1 to schedule the estate sale for December, 1 to book dumpsters for January, for whatever doesn't sell. Excellent work, he says again, pulling away. You go back inside and the house feels different. The way a patient feels different once the paperwork calls them terminal. The sale has a date now, and you're the one who gave it a shopping list. In November, it gets dark at 4, and at 4:10 on a Tuesday, the knock comes again. And this time, you couldn't say why. You answer it. A man your father's age, holding his hat like a much older film. He doesn't want to come in. He wants to know if the clock is still there. The grandfather clock, walnut. His family's, left with Mrs. E in 1994 when the bailiffs were coming, because everyone knew Mrs. E kept things for people. Kept them until you were ready. That's the phrase he uses, and you hear the tags upstairs click into place like a lock opening. A name, a date, until. You let him talk on the porch for 40 minutes in the cold, and then you go inside and finally open the letters on the hallway shelf, a dozen variations of the same letter. Is my mother's ring still safe? Is the violin still there? I'm doing better now. Under the shelf itself, in a biscuit tin, you find her ledger. 50 years of entries. Name, item, date received. No column for value. 1 column, mostly empty, headed, returned. The house isn't a hoard, it's a vault, and the sale is in 10 days, and legally, none of these people exist. 912 items, and you're the only person alive who knows which 60 of them are on loan. You sit at the kitchen table with the ledger and the catalog side by side, and the math of your situation is simple enough to be insulting. The fee you haven't been paid yet. The authorization letter that says inventory and doesn't say return. The fact that every object you hand back is, on paper, removed from an estate you were hired to protect. If you're caught, you're not a sentimental man doing a kind thing. You're a contractor with a documented pattern of theft. You understand all of it, completely, with nothing hidden from yourself. The first snow coming down outside like a deadline learning to be beautiful. And you prop the front door open. Not figuratively. You find the iron doorstop, item 317, cast iron, fox-shaped, wear consistent with 50 years of exactly this. And you set the door open to the street for the first time since spring. Word travels fast on a street where everyone's been waiting years for that door. What follows is the strangest fortnight of your professional life. An estate sale in reverse, conducted at dusk, 1 visitor at a time. You work from the ledger, matching names to letters to tags, and the street works from memory, sending its people up the path in 1s and 2s. The violin man, sober 4 years, who holds the instrument like it might disagree. 2 sisters who split a photo album on the porch without a single argument, just alternating pages. The clock goes home on a Wednesday on a borrowed dolly, at an hour you'd rather not log anywhere. Not everything finds its person. Some names have died, some moved past forwarding. 1 man stands a long time over his box and then asks you to keep it. Not the estate, he's clear about that. You. The catalog you hand the lawyer at the end is honest about everything that remains and silent about the rest. And if he notices that 900 items became 800 and change, he decides, engine running, radio low, that some questions cost more than the answers are worth. The sale happens in December, between two strings of Christmas lights. It's thin. Most of a life, it turns out, has no resale value, which is either the saddest fact you know or the most reassuring, and you genuinely cannot decide. The last name in the ledger doesn't match any letter, any tag, or any door on the street. January. The house is empty in the way only a full house can become empty. Echoing, scuffed, bright with all the daylight the stacks used to eat. The dumpsters came and went, and you don't want to talk about the dumpsters. You do a final walk with the clipboard out of habit, logging nothing, past the clean rectangles on the floor where 50 years stood. The last name in the ledger, the one that matched nothing. It's hers. One entry, 1973, in younger handwriting. One item received, a ring box, from a name that appears nowhere else, with the same one word in the last column as all the others. Until. You find it where the ledger says it would be, behind the loose brick by the kitchen window. Somebody once left something with her, too. She was somebody's Mrs. E before she was the streets. You stand in the empty kitchen, holding 50 years of a system that outlived its founder, and the cat watches you from the windowsill with the expression of an institution awaiting its next appointment. You return the ring box last, to the address on the 1973 entry, which is now a granddaughter who has heard the stories and cries in the doorway in a way that embarrasses nobody. And as you leave, the neighbor from the clock family catches you at the gate, carrying a shoebox, taped shut, a name already written on the side in big block letters. So, he says, not really asking, are you the new one? You take the box, because your hands decide before you do. At home, you clear a shelf in your hallway. One box, one name that isn't yours. There are 140 boxes fewer in the world with somebody's name on the side, and one more, and it's in your house, and you suspect, the way you once suspected a full house of having rules, that it will not stay alone on that shelf for long.